Well, we have a nice little day here, a nice little Wednesday with Bitcoin opening up, kind of holding the same range that we've been in for the past really couple weeks here. And ultimately, despite the CPI prints coming out this morning, really nothing all that happening for Bitcoin, and traditional markets actually taking this moment to have a little bit of a rally there. But more importantly, I see a lot of great comments over here. I see an amazing comment, in fact, from Crypto Clown World TA says, "What a coincidence. Krown kicks off the stream and I drop a fat deuce. It is a sign from the heavens above. The gods have spoken." And of course, that can only mean one thing. Everyone pull down your pants, put out your buttholes, and get ready to dump. Get ready to dump. Perhaps we might even have a little dumpola here with Bitcoin. In fact, pertaining to the title today, if Bitcoin is going to have a dump, I do think that this next week would be the time, would be really the time for that to happen. My personal bias still remains, though. I'm very skeptical towards that happening, especially with Bitcoin, kind of being given the opportunity to do that in the short term here. And so far, really not much. But I'll read through a few more of these comments before we move on, and we'll get into the actual analysis of the day. We got Vegas God next. It says, "Krown, can you dive deeper on the 3-month chart? Bearish divergence to potential $43,000 range. If this plays out, no macro bottom yet, then I guess." Well, you basically laid it all out there in one sentence, sir. Yes, of course, man. If it does play out, then unfortunately we do not have a macro bottom here. But I do want to address yesterday's video. Yesterday's video, I was presenting the alternative view. I always like to take my own view and challenge it in the best way possible. There's no benefit from making a straw man out of effectively what you don't think is going to happen. No, you should steel man as much as possible, because ultimately we're not trying to fall in love with the fucking direction. We're trying to fall in love with the probabilities and choosing which side is more likely. Now, I still remain with there are more compelling things, and there quite literally are objectively more compelling things from the things that I've been looking at for a macro low already being in. But if I'm going to make a case for the other side, there is a strong case. It's certainly not weak. Like there is if Bitcoin came down to low 40s, that wouldn't be all that surprising. There are some technical things on the board that certainly do suggest that. My personal opinion is, alongside a lot of the other analysis, well, probably not. Anyways, let's see what else we got over here. Gwinto says, "Krown, I need help. Bitcoin shoved its red dildo down my throat. Out my bungalow." My bungalow. I think you mean bunghole, because hopefully you do not have a bungalow. I don't even know what the fuck that means. I heard that when people were talking about New York recently, worried about people losing their bungalows. Don't know what the fuck that is, but I do know what a bunghole is. So hopefully they didn't lose that, because that would be very problematic. I don't know how you waste your waste if you don't have such things. Anyways, people lamenting about trading view. Yeah, believe me, I am very much aware of this. I see a good comment over here, actually. First, Vegas E-God, Vegas C-God, or is it Vegas E-God? I guess no more boxing for Krown. I actually still do. I still do practice, of course, but I haven't really seen any matches come up recently. More importantly, I think the promotional company that was doing these things for Crypto Fight Night, I don't even think they're rocking and rolling anymore. Maybe they're going to do one for Singapore, but who the hell knows? I haven't seen shit about that. And ultimately, well, I ain't even leaving the. I don't even want to leave right now. I want to stay here. I want to have a nice fight in the United States. If I'm going to take another fight, it must be in the United States. So it'd just be oh so cool. They offered me a couple ones in the United States, but they got canceled, unfortunately. Literally just they didn't even have the event. Which would have been amazing, man. Vegas for Vegas God, and of course, and the other one was actually going to be in Miami, which would have been super cool as well. Anyways, what else we got, man? Pretzel Meat says, "Been a subscriber since 2018. Fucking nice. I haven't seen your name here, but that is awesome to see. I typically remember all of the OGs, so maybe you just haven't been that chatty in the chat box, but that's all good, man. I am, as always, happy to see people who've been here for a long time. I mean, shit. At this point, if you've been around since 2020, you're an OG, I suppose. That is half a decade ago now. But I do want to get to this comment. Edgar Espinozi says, "Bro, I need help. I've been getting wrecked after a winning streak. Now I'm afraid." This is very, very common, actually. What typically happens is people, go on a winning streak, and then they start to kind of deviate from their actual set out plan that they, back tested and did all the work on, because they start to get that false sense of confidence that, hey, I can do no wrong. I can, I'm going to make money and I'm going to be right. And you start to trust your opinion a lot more than what you actually trust in the analysis. And that can create a massive cognitive dissonance, which naturally leads to you not making the right actions at the right time. That is a long way of saying stick to your fucking plan. At the end of the day, if you finish the TA course, I would say, okay, go back into that and make sure one, that you actually did create a strategy from that. You don't need to use the sort of basic strategy that I outlined in that program, but you can definitely build upon that or create your own. This is all good. You can do all these sort of things. And by the way, you can backtest it for free with Central Command at this point too. I'm going to release a video probably in a week about how to connect your Central Command to Claude, which is pretty damn cool. But anyways, I digress. The main thing is that once you actually have a working strategy, it is just a function of following that strategy, which yes, sometimes can be more, easier said than done, right? Of course. But naturally, what's the only way to go forwards from there? Is it to, I don't know, write in your notebook and meditate on things? I mean, yes, this can definitely help. But at the end of the day, the action to take is the right action, which is simply just following your strategy in the way that you laid it out, in the way that you tested it, in the way that you actually know that it can work. Now, if you haven't done that part of the work, then yes, that's where you need to go back to, because ultimately you're just trading in a discretionary style and you're going to be hiding your own strategy's efficaciousness away from yourself by doing that, at least in my humble opinion, because that's what I see most people doing with that. Yes, it can work for some, but I see it fail for most over time, because ultimately they run into the exact same issue that you just laid out right there, which is you start to get into an emotional state. Once you get into an emotional state, you no longer make the right proper decisions, because naturally when you're in an emotional state, you are quite literally blocked off, like physiologically, from making those proper logical decisions. You're making emotional decisions. So that just creates a whole cascade of bullshit that more or less just ends up in you wrecked, which sounds like perhaps what you're at right now. You're asking me then, how would you trade Bitcoin's next move? So this is okay, so I think that probably answers my question. It seems like maybe you don't have a strategy. Look, you don't need to trade every move. You don't need to trade every move. You can sit back and wait. And this is really what I've come to over time. As I think I've matured as a trader and investor, is I'm happy to wait. Like if I take a big loss, or if I take a string of losses, for example, that's okay. I'm happy to wait for the obvious signal that I want to see in order to take my next trade, which has a higher probability. That is all I'm doing at the end of the day. When it comes to options, I found that this is, very simple to do. You just pick major pivots on price action. If you have enough equity in your account to cover positions, then hey, you can make that work for sure. Or at least in my opinion, very, 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 very well. If you understand the underlying structure and of course, strategy, yes, which maybe I'll reveal at some time. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with that. I don't know how useful or how interested people will necessarily be, but at the end of the day, no, you don't need to trade every damn move in order to make a shit ton of money. You only feel that way right now because you lost some money and you have this sort of loss aversion in your mind in which you feel like, oh, I lost something, so I need to go get it back. It's like you leave a $20 bill on the floor and you feel like you need to go search for it for the next 2 hours, even though in probably 2 hours you can make a lot more than $20 if you have a job or if you have some sort of income generating skill. At the end of the day, we have to be aware of these things. Yes, because you are going to be fighting perhaps that internal battle, but still the right action to take is still the right action, which is wait for your strategy to give you the signal to enter. And until then, you do fucking nothing. You do fucking nothing. And even in between then, what you could do if you want to be super productive is you could still go back to your strategy creation phase and optimize your current strategy. Or if you haven't already even done it, then just create a strategy. And yes, this is again, easier said than done. That is why we do have these free tools through Central Command where you can actually backtest things and even have an agent play it out. This is all for free, by the way, as well. But at the end of the day, if you don't have a strategy over time, I don't see people survive this. I know less than 5 people who are discretionary traders. And I'm not even sure that they're profitable, to be quite frank with you. Like I don't look into their account every day. So at the end of the day, if you don't already have a strategy, that's where we got to go back to. Other than that, take it as you will. Hopefully that was in some way helpful. And perhaps we get into the actual analysis of the day. A lot of comments just blew up right there too. Krown, fight a fan prize. I don't know. Is there a prize for me? That's, I don't know, man. At the same time, I'm probably getting a little bit too old, but I think I could do one more, but no, I probably wouldn't do someone in this community. I'd like to do like an actual fight, against another influencer of some sort. Someone that like I can learn to hate, basically. No, of course not. You don't actually want that. I'm joking a little bit, but that would be fun, and I want to do it in the U.S. Other than that, man, yeah, there's really not much upside in actually fighting. It's fun, it's super fun, but there's honestly not that much upside. I mean, shit, they don't really pay. I mean, they really don't pay much at all. And then on top of that, what? And then on top of that, like you are risking yourself, of course, too. Revenge trading, so this buck star crash. Yeah, there is revenge trading, of course, as well. And it sounds like you're even aware of that, Mr. Who was it, Edgar? Or was it? Sorry, I want to get his name right. Yeah, Edgar. Of course, these sort of things are natural. You feel like you want to get back at it, but it sounds like you're aware of this, and awareness is the first defense. Once you're aware of it, then you can only consciously give into it or not. And if you consciously give into it, then, well, shit, man, you can't really be mad about your results, obviously. Now, if you don't give into it, then yes, that is the right action. You should feel good about that, even though it doesn't feel good. Obviously, it's not going to feel good. Like, don't get me wrong. Even after doing this for more than 15 years, I mean, shit, I guess getting closer to 20 years now, I don't feel good when I take a loss. I don't let it ruin my day, but I certainly don't feel, I'm not looking forward to it saying like, oh, great, there's the loss. Amazing, I can move on now. No, it's just like, that sucks. But, I've done this enough times now. I know that if I continue to play this out over time, it's going to go in my favor. So I'll just continue to do that and let it be, just let the chips fall where they may. Anyways, the OGs remember Krown's sweet hairstyle struggles early on. Yeah, man, it's been some time for that. Actually, I went through a lot of my old videos and I'm like, holy shit, I'm a disgusting creature. COVID was bad for me, man. Didn't bother going to the fucking hair person for like a year or two. It seemed like. Then I started losing all my hair. Then I was like, all right, we'll just do what we can here. Okay, cool. Sir, ladies. Ooh, we have a ladies man. Hi, Mr. Krown. Will you consider bringing back the Discord Q&A you used to do? Probably not. I feel like these streams are basically that time, and I want to reserve my weekends to focus on creating different kind of content, more like educational kind of content, rather than doing more Q&As. So yeah. Anyways, G Kai says, Krown, new versions of LTI and Pesto Fear. Yeah, there was an update. I'm probably going to do, God, I really hope I have time this week, but I am meaning to update the course contents. I believe Pesto already has as well, but I want to record my own stuff regarding that too. But he's already updated all of the things that you can read in the LTI course. Anyways, actually speaking of the LTI, I do want to come back to that right here as well before we get into the actual analysis of the day. The LTI, I keep on coming back to this strong signal that we just got a couple of weeks ago at the end of July. That does set in the bias for me that I just don't think we're going to see a closure on a weekly time frame below the July or June low. Again, that effectively is 57,750. But yeah, I gotta go with what we've seen historically speaking, and we've seen these signals play out very, very similar historically speaking. That first strong buy signal coming up, about 20% away from the actual closing low. We saw that back in 2022 over here. This first strong signal right here, boom, to the low right there, about 20% off. Make sure to put my magnets on my magnets, and go over to 2018, in which we saw basically the same thing right here as well. First strong signal right there, and what do you know? Oh, whoops, let me actually go to the low. That would be better perhaps in this case. Yeah, 20.61% loss right there from that first strong closing signal to the actual macro low. And then we even have the same thing over here in 2014 and 2015. First strong signal right here, closing low right there. Yes, it did wick a lot lower, by the way. This was 2014 and 2015 after all, but yeah, it lost about 20% on a weekly closing basis, and that was effectively the low. So in our current iteration, we have the exact same thing going on, where Bitcoin did close right here, and the current closing low is what, about 22.5% away, a little bit more than the other ones, to be fair, but yeah, still in alignment with that data, I would say. And ultimately, I'm going to run with that until proven otherwise. Again, if it gets proven otherwise, look, I will look down to those mid to low $40,000 territories, and I will likely buy along the way as well. In fact, while we're here right now, might as well buy my $100 worth of Bitcoins per day on the old CoinDerp right here. Of course, Coinbase is going to be the cheapest place to buy Bitcoins. If you do use the shill link in the description below, it gets you 80% off your spot fees. That's why that's why I'm using them right now, because I'm just in the accumulation mode, and I'll buy $100, 100 buckaroonies of Bitcoins a day. And right now I am on advanced. So if you use the advanced Coinbase thing, which all you need to do is just go to the bottom left-hand side of Coinbase. You just click the advanced button. It puts you over into this interface. And then if you put in a limit order and you're using my specific shill link, then yes, you will get some significant fee discounts. Not only do you get 80% fee discount on your spot buys, but because you're using advanced and because you're also using limit orders, that's going to reduce it even further. So I did the math on that in the previous video, but let's now actually get into the real analysis of the day for the old coins here. So starting off with Bitcoin. And start off with the event of the day. Of course, Bitcoin, as the title does state, I would be looking for a dump to occur this next week, between now, basically, and the end of next week, I should say. So between now and next Friday, this next 9 or 10 day spread. If Bitcoin's going to come down, I do think that it happens within this spread. I'll explain why during this video. Currently my opinion is still that, while yes, Bitcoin has a short-term bearish bias, I'm not necessarily bearish overall. I do still think that the overall macro lows are in, but Bitcoin can have some downside right here. So CPI landed dead in line with expectations at 3.4% headline, Core's 2.5%, and Shelter doing 2/3 of the work. So the calendar takes over at this point. And yes, we do have PPI tomorrow, which could move marks as well, but I think the same thing's going to happen there, to be quite frank with you as well. In each of the last 4 red August, the real damage arrived mid to late month, not in the first 10 days. The window opens now effectively with PPI tomorrow as its first catalyst. If things are going to start to, do a real downtrend, this is the time for something like that to happen. Remember, it's the last couple weeks of August that are typically the worst time for August in the previous red August that we've seen, not just in Bitcoin, but in markets in general. So anyways, the odds favor this week. If anything happens, that's when I do really expect it to start. And the key factor there is taking out the actually not the July low, but it would be August 1st low at about 62,200 on the index. As far as what Bitcoin's doing right now, Bitcoin did flush down to 63,200. But so far, just kind of, diddle-daddling, not doing much, while traditional markets continue to hold the line. In fact, even putting some green on the board for the day as well. Other than that, the ETF bid blinked this week. Strategy kept selling, of course, as well, which obviously not going to help things. But, we're not really seeing much of a response from price in general compared to what we used to see. Again, this is having a less and less effect over time. Kind of another signal, in my opinion, nonetheless. And then what do we have right now? We have maximum apathy, in my opinion. That is a setup. Volatility just bounced off of its 11th month floor. So we saw the lowest levels of volatility in basically a year, almost a year, like just shy of a year. Perp activity is the lowest in 3 years. Like literally perpetual trading is the lowest in 3 fucking years. Like, I know I feel it. I'm sure other people here feel it as well. You let me know if you feel it too. But I can definitely attest to that fact that things just feel mind-numbingly boring. I mean, in a way that I haven't seen since years, realistically. I mean, this reminds me a lot of like the 2018 low in a way. Anyways, hibernation per K3 sentiment is dead neutral, and puts still cost more than calls for the old coins there. Meanwhile, gold sits at a 10-week high while Bitcoin bleeds. The divergence of the day, more or less, although I do think that gold probably is putting in a bull trap relatively soon. It might go a little bit higher, but still a bull trap. Apathy that's deep historically what precedes the violent resolution. PPI tomorrow, if that is going to, put a pin in things, that's probably where I'd be looking for it to happen. As far as the map goes, still looking at the same things from the past, really the past week now. Ultimately, the reference midband is going to be that short-term bias buster as long as Bitcoin's below. Yes, I do have to remain with the short-term bearish bias. It's just the rules. Rules are rules at the end of the day. 64,600 is that line in the sand. Bitcoin can reclaim that, which is effectively today's high and yesterday's high as well. Bitcoin can even just trade back above that again. That would be a damn good signal. Bitcoin's ready to try and assault towards $67,000, and at that point, very likely to pull in through the real reversal, at least on the weekly there. Ultimately, while Bitcoin is still below 64,600, is Bitcoin more likely to test 63,000 bucks? Yes, that's what we did say on the break from Monday. Could you say that Bitcoin's already gotten that? Yeah, I would say so. Basically graze that number early morning here. And Bitcoin wants to take another step lower. Then the next major level to be aware of to the downside is, of course, those lows that we saw from the 1st of August at 62,200. If you see a daily closure below there, that really does start to destroy a lot of things in not just the short term, but also the medium term. But anyways, let me explain why Bitcoin, if it is going to have some downside in the short term here, it happens sooner rather than later. I would say between now and next Friday is when we really would expect to see that next leg down. Most importantly, taking out the August 1st low below 62,200. That is the key component that I'm looking at right here. One, that would effectively be, coming down below your revenue ribbons, lower band right here. But more importantly, we see a lot of momentum signals kind of aligning at the same time that if they do, if things were going to happen, this would be the real shot for it to happen. So daily time frame, stochastic momentum is going to be positioned to the downside for the first time since, basically this rally began in early August. I don't know if you can really call it like a massive rally, but, a little bit of a rally right there. And that's showing downside pressure as long as Bitcoin's basically below today's high. So that does show up not just as a Rev and Ribbons pivot, but also a momentum pivot here at 64,500 more or less. Very, very close to each other. Also, as we identified on Monday, there is a nice trendline regression governing the last few highs from July 13th connected with July 23rd, and then also this high here from August 10th and basically yesterday as well. So as long as Bitcoin's below there, yep, short-term momentum does remain the more likely thing. And also the 2-day time frame is going to be continuing to the downside as well. Assuming Bitcoin does finish out, I think it is today, yes, it is indeed today, below 63,900. So as long as Bitcoin's below there, you got daily and 2-day moving in the same direction. And then if we go to the 3-day time frame, this one is also turning to the downside freshly for the first time since July, like the beginning of July, I should say. And that remains with downside pressure as long as Bitcoin's below 65,300. And that one does not close today, it closed tomorrow. So you can see all of these things potentially moving in the same direction on low BBWP right here. Volatility is very, very low. So this thing is coiled for a move nonetheless. And if there is going to be a move, those would suggest, over this next, I would say, 7 to 10 days, that's going to be to the downside. So if there ever was a time for Bitcoin to try to push to the downside, now is it. The next major line in the sand, like I said, is going to be that low from early August at 62,200. If Bitcoin breaks that, I do expect to move down to almost $60,000 even. Somewhere around there would make a lot of sense. Still, I'd keep my, I'd keep some, a little bit of hopium alive. But before we get into the hopium, I do want to go over, the full bearish case here for the short term. If we go over here and look at our RSI for the 2-day time frame, there is potentially, or actually, no, it is already in there, some hidden bearish divergence actually, which did develop on that last local high. And Bitcoin, as of right now, losing both the 21 and the 5 EMA if Bitcoin finishes the day out here or lower. So not looking too hot right there. And then the 3-day time frame also has a chance to put in some hidden bearish divergence right here too, if Bitcoin finishes out today, or sorry, not today, but tomorrow, as that's when it's going to close below basically here or lower, below about 63,500. If you see that, yeah, that will be confirmed. This is all coming along the side of very, 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 very low BWP. So volatility is going to be indicative that, hey, that could be a real move right there. By the same token, like I said, if Bitcoin can even just flip back around and reclaim today's high, that would be a really damn good early indication for me that Bitcoin does want to flip back around and try another move towards $6,000-7,000. But until then, yeah, if you're going to, if I'm going to favor one side, again, rules are rules. I have to favor the short-term downside as it stands right now until that happens, or if that even happens at all. But personally, my view is more or less unchanged on the higher-term timeframes. And let me explain why, just in a very succinct way. All of the higher-term timeframes above the 3-day timeframe are more or less suggesting a completely different view of price action right now. 5-day time frame is showing stochastic momentum straight to the upside. This is the first time that we've even seen this since March, by the way. That one shows upside pressure as long as Bitcoin's above 60,450. So far, so good. That will close tomorrow night as well, by the way. The weekly time frame, similar thing right here as well, showing upside pressure as long as Bitcoin's above 62,900. If that one starts to get lost by end of week, that would be concerning for sure. No doubt about that, but so far, so good. The 8-day time frame also showing fresh upside as long as Bitcoin's above 61,500, and even getting a bit of a Krown trading stochastic signal right here as well. Although, that one more or less fired off recently. Still, if Bitcoin were to come back down to like $60,000 or even 59,500, I think you're probably going to get a bounce attempt right there. That is effectively what did arrest the last downside move on a closing basis. Anyways, moving from there, the 10-day time frame, what do you know? Also showing upside pressure as long as Bitcoin's above 60,650, closing, I believe, that one doesn't come for another 6 days. It's the bi-weekly time frame that's closing at the end of this week. And if this one crosses the upside alongside all the other ones maintaining their current posturing, which they will if this pivot is met at 62,500, that's a damn good signal to me that still this is likely a bottoming area. You will have some natural bullish divergence on the bi-weekly stochastic oscillator right here, and you'll see all those other higher term timeframes continue to move to the upside as well. Still, however, the monthly time frame is going to be positioned to the downside as of right now. The pivot is 65,670, but long month to go, and I wouldn't really be calling things as of right now. But just the fact that it's like this deep in the bearish control zone, it's going to be difficult to keep that momentum up, even for like another couple months, I would imagine, which maybe does put us in for an October low. Very possible, I suppose, but still, even around there, you can see with all those other timeframes turning, you can see all the wheels, and the puzzle pieces kind of knocking each other down in the background. And I imagine that, if you do see the bi-weekly confirm, you're probably going to see these things follow through. But short term, definitely does need to be respected, at least from my point of view. As far as my own positioning goes, I am still remaining with a kind of bastardized short strangle here. Now, the call side is more or less premium at this point. This one's expiring in a couple days, and the $66,000 strike is more or less all premium. I mean, these things are, I think the last I looked, it was like around $100. It was almost nothing. Sold them for $500. I sold 20 of them for $500, bought 10 of them back for $250, and I'll buy the rest 10 back probably at end of today, assuming Bitcoin's kind of hanging around here, and that price is somewhere around $100 or especially below. I mean, shit amount. I don't want to keep that open. Like, I don't want to find out the hard way. What I do need to worry about, however, is my short put strike, because those don't expire this week. They expire next Friday. And those I'm short big time. I'm short 30 contracts there for an average price of $475. Actually, yes, it is $475. And if Bitcoin really starts to come back down below that 62,200 low, I need to start covering that position. So that can force me to actually do something. In this case, if I need to do that, what I will do is I shall do something like this, is what it's going to look like on the P&L curve right there. Okay, this is just not right. Yeah, and that's not even correct as well as far as the P&L curve. I don't know why it's doing it like that. Strange, very fucking strange. Anyways, the better probably look at this is this guy right here. Yeah, nice little short strangle, although the right side is going to be not symmetrical to the left side as of right now. Anyways, yeah, as far as the rest of the week goes, like I said, tomorrow is going to be PPI. That's going to come in, I think, just right before, of course, the market opens. A couple of things to be aware of with that. If you do get a hot PPI, then that would also be a catalyst, obviously, for Bitcoin. And of course, if it comes in line with expectations, I kind of expect them more of the same here, just sideways, still holding the range, not a breakdown, not a breakout, just more boringness. Again, boringness here ultimately does favor the boo laws. That's going to require, or that is going to force the short-term bearish momentum to kind of peter out. If you just don't start moving to the downside in a real fashion, I would say, like within this next week, realistically. Other than that, let's go back into it and let's go look at traditional markets, because they are showing they're just looking different and a little bit more interesting here too. Anyways, SPY futures continuing with their up only market. Fucking beautiful right there. Ultimately, in the short-term timeframes, this is shaping up to be what? It's shaping up to be something resembling an ascending triangle, which is not like it's not a magical pattern or anything like this. All it is it is higher lows with same highs, which gives an upside bias, of course. Here's your same highs, here's your higher lows right here. And so far, so good. Ultimately, I'm still not bearish on this market. I was honestly expecting this thing to try a pullback this week, and I guess you got a little bit of not much. Again, this thing could easily pull back to 76.50 and it would still look good to me. That would be a buying opportunity for me. With it kind of hanging up around here, I do not really want to be doing any of my DCAing as of this exact moment. Same thing for NASDAQ, but not as strong, of course. This one certainly on the weaker side, but it's holding in there nonetheless. And yes, based off of the weekly, I'm still looking at this one as likely to retest around these $30,500 highs and probably continue upwards and onwards. It's not the market leader right now, unfortunately. The biggest gains are elsewhere, and the broad market continues to be incredibly strong. In fact, the weekly time frame over here had 1, 2, 3 drives of hidden bullish divergence on character RSI. So all of these things, aligning with each other. Even the daily time frame right here on very low BWP, putting in higher lows, is obviously going to favor the upside for a resolution. And if and when it does, I'm looking at $8,000 basically. So on and so forth. And when I look across the board here, again, it is the usual suspects who have been holding up this market in more recent times, which is defense technology and actually to a lesser extent a little bit of the AI stuff going on right there too. And then of course the health sector. These guys are the ones who've been doing the heavy lifting as rotations pull back from the semiconductors and start to favor a different sector going on. So that's what I'm watching right now. Other than that, I think it's time for me to get into the actual super chats of the day. I see we got a shit ton of super chats right now, which is fucking crazy for how mind-numbingly boring fucking boring these damn days are at this point. But hey, important shit does happen, and that's where we can also look at other markets here too. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Other than that, by the way, and of course, if if all of this sounded fucking crazy to you, check out the Options 101 program. If you're interested in options, check out the TA 101 program. If you're interested in general TA and in trading, they are all free. They are all, like, I would say simple in essence, but also covers the most important things, which will actually, hopefully help. That is the goal of these things. And again, they are literally free. So we shall go in to the super chats right now, and I will go up all the way to the tippy top of here. And we got MG76067. He's looking at CVS. This is kind of health sector, kind of not. I mean, it is a health company, I guess, but ultimately, this one I really, really like overall long-term. It just depends how long-term you are. You're looking at a weekly and a monthly. I wouldn't even say on a weekly or a monthly that it's necessarily ready just yet. Long-term on a quarterly, I do think that this one is setting in for probably a breakout in Q4 of this year to the upside. But in the short term, what do we see? Well, weekly time frame trying to base on the 21 EMA. So I guess maybe you probably try a bounce here. I'm personally not so optimistic that it's going to try for the next like macro high or low here and then just go straight up from here. Personally, as you can see on probably my my alert that I have right there, I want to see it go a little bit lower before I nibble a little bit on this stock. If it came down to like 85 to 90, that would look a little bit better to me. But I'm kind of, I'm kind of cutting hairs at this point. It's already down at about 94, 95 bucks. This is not a big mover, by the way. It came down about 110 to 90. In comparison to a lot of things that we look at, it's not a tremendous move. It's also not like super, super small mover, but at the same time, I want to get slightly better prices here. So I'm happy to wait. I'm not in a major rush right now. But long-term, I really, really like this chart. Like, I really like this chart. You are basically looking at a 10-year long consolidation going on since 2015. And I think it's going to be resolved relatively soon here. Just personally, I want to see it get a little bit under 90 bucks, and I'll start nibbling at that price. But in the short term, I don't think that there's any real threat of this thing running away to the upside, especially as long as you are, unfortunately, not very helpful, but below that 110 high. Maybe like a short-term rally here. I mean, there probably is a bounce temp, but I want to see something like this and then up. Personally, I'm not saying that absolutely has to happen, but that's where I look at this as a little bit more investable, maybe even slightly below 90. In fact, like closer to 86 would look really, really good to me. Anyways, 1236N says XLE daily. Okay, this is energy sector, I believe. Yes, indeed it is. And you're looking at a daily and a weekly. Weekly good. Weekly really, really good right here. This thing is probably ready for at least a test towards that previous 6170 high. And I do think, you might pull back on a daily from there, but I do think that this thing is very mature and ready to probably try for a real break, after like a short daily pullback, perhaps, because you already rejected that level right here in late July. All you did was come down in a minimal fashion, put another higher low, and then charge back up there. And of course, if you are a pattern bro, you're looking at this as an inverted herp and derp. And, look, where is your neckline? Your neckline is effectively your breakout area, which is, again, 6170. If you break above there, this thing is obviously poised for new all-time highs. And when I say new all-time highs, just doing some, actually, we can do one of these right here. Technical target for that would actually be around about 71 bucks with perhaps a stop along the way at like 66.5. From there, can it go up to like 80 to 85? Sure. But, one thing before the next. But so far, so good. I have no reason to be bearish on this thing. I mean, even looking for this thing to correct further as long as you're above last week's low. So very easy and obvious invalidation point right there if you're looking for a setup. Yeah. Probably among one of the better things that we may even see today. Anyways, Fatty Yoshi's says, when Zcash 10,000, sorry. No, sorry, that's Blitz Carmichael, sorry. Fatty Yoshi says, gold daily and weekly anal ISIS, true breakout or fake out targets by end of year. Let me look into my crystal ball, and hopefully the anal ISIS don't terrorize my bunghole, because that sounds absolutely terrible. And we'll go over here to gold. I still think that gold is in a bull trap move right here, and I do think that, based upon how quickly this one rose up, I do think that it's possible that it probably does rally a little bit more, maybe closer to 4,500, maybe even a little bit above 4,500. What I think it is by end of year, I think it is lower than 4,000. That's what I'd say about that. Other than that, I just look at this as effectively a retest of the last 6 months time frame open, and I'm anywhere between here and like 45. ish, maybe gets up to like 45, 50, whatever. That's what I'm looking for on a rejection. Keep in mind, this is the prime example of kind of what I talk about in a potential bull trap scenario in which you get a downtrend, you get a high, low, lower high, lower low. It pops up here. And usually they take out like a high, one of the lower highs on the way, but not put in a weekly high or low along that way. And that's kind of the tell. In this case, actually, we don't really have either, to be fair. I mean, maybe on a daily it shows us, I guess. But, a rally to the daily 200 simple, which is effectively 4,500 is your classic bear market rally and probably rejection points. So yeah, I think it can rally a little bit more from here. But do I think this is going to be like a runaway rally to new highs? No, I don't think so. I think that this is going to ultimately fail. But, looking at the monthly, I mean, that monthly did have a pretty damn strong correction. So this, if it wanted to rally up a lot more and really wipe out late shorters, it absolutely could do that. I wouldn't be that surprised, I guess. I don't expect this one to be easy. Gold should be pretty damn hard, being that it is an ancient asset here. But still, I think that whatever this rally is, it's going to fail at some point. And we've been saying the same thing on gold for a while now. It's like, probably going to bounce, from 4,000, 43 to 45 area, kind of getting there right now. I think it's going to take a little bit of waiting, but still the same there, more or less. Targets by end of year, I just think it's going to be below 4,000. I don't have necessarily like a full-on target between 2,500 and 4,000. Probably not that helpful, but yeah. Let's go check out Kalshi markets, by the way. All right, where is my Bitcoin? Should we play a fun game? Gamble Krown's money. Would you want to call up or down on the next 15-minute dildo? I'll bet $10 on it. We could give it like 1 minute and then see. That could actually be kind of fun. Keep these streams a little bit light, a little bit fun. As always, full disclosure when it comes to Kalshi, I treat this as just a fun site for me. I don't look at this as real trading. I don't look at this as like me trying to, be professional or anything like that. I'm looking to have a little bit of fun with the old Kalshi right here. If you want to join along, you can. I would humbly implore you to consider my view on Kalshi. But hey, you can do whatever the fuck you want to do. I do have a show link for it. It will get you up to $500 in free credit trading, free cash in your account, something like that. If you trade only $50 on your account, which is actually kind of nice. Anyways, I'm not going to do all in, but I will do an up or down. This one's about to end in 2 minutes. So we can start it for the next one after that. And I'll just keep an eye on the bottoms of the comments right here and see what see what the community thinks, and then we'll go from there. Anyways, Rob Willich is next. He's saying Krown bastard strangle my name. Yes, the bastard strangle. Yes, I did a bastardized strangle. That is true. Say price against you and you cover. Oh, say the price goes against you. Yeah, and you cover inside your short strike. You said last week that you would still have the position after expiration. Wouldn't it be assigned? Wouldn't it be assigned at expiration? If you're doing US style options, yes. If you're doing European style options, no. So if you're going to trade something like IBIT, that's going to be US style options. If you're going to trade, on like Bybit, for example, or Deribit or any of these like crypto native exchanges, then they're going to do European style. I don't actually know what Coinbase is going to do yet for its style. I think it's going to be American. I remember her telling me it's going to be American, but that almost seems like it'd be a little bit too good to be true. But anyways, if it's European style, keep in mind that you're settled in cash equivalents. So you will not be automatically assigned, in this case, a long position for short puts. So your position would not effectively just immediately cancel out. No, you'd actually be left over with that short position. You could close it at the same time to get effectively the exact same effect. But you don't necessarily have to. And on a pivot like that, I probably want to keep that. I would probably want to keep that open is what I'm trying to say. So yeah. All right, cool. DJ Z's says update on NBIS all time frames. Okay. Oh, we're at 10:15 right now. All right. What's it going to be? Long or up or down? Are we going up or down in this next 15-minute dildo? Wait, hold on. Where's the fucking, oh, it's pending. I can't even buy right now. Well, that sucks. That destroys all of the fun. Okay, we'll do the hourlies instead. Is Bitcoin going to be up above or below 63,500 by end of hour? So you got 45 minutes left to go. Will Bitcoin be above 63,500 or below 63,500? Let's see. Let's even look at what like a hourly looks like right now. Let's just see, and then I'll get to the super chat right after that. going to be above or below. That's kind of a hard one right here. This really is a fucking coin flip. I would actually say below, probably. I'd probably say below in this case. All right. Okay. Yeah, Ants, man, that fucking Ant Sutton guy, so fucking, he comes to all of my videos for like a long time. He's been wrong on all of them too, but just always leaves like a random nasty comment. It's like super strange, super fucking strange. Anyways, all right, cool. And yeah, don't always just use moving averages. Not like they're fucking bad anyways, but goddamn. All right, we doing, Do says up. Oh no, he's going for the 15-minute one. All right, I'll scroll back and do super chat first, and then wait for, of course, the, what's it called? The what the fuck is it called? The super chats, or sorry, the answers. All right, down 100% says down 100%. Fatty Yoshi says probably above. Below for Hoi Hoi. Most definitely. This is going to be fun, man. All right. We should actually keep tabs on who actually get these things right. NBIS, we'll do NBIS first, and then I'll revisit the old Kalshi right there. NBIS, overall good. Overall, really, really good. Hidden bullish evidence right here. We're looking at this one as putting in a higher low here on the green 55 EMA, on low volatility, in a general uptrend. This is good, man. This is really good. Yeah. I don't really have much to say about it other than that. I think you're going to retest those highs, pull back on the first pass, and then probably try a real breakout after that. You're saying I have a long-term target of 380 in from 180. Oh, beautiful, man. So you're in from effectively that last higher low, a little bit higher than that, but yeah, pretty damn good there nonetheless. Do I think you're going to get up to 380? I mean, if we actually take a general target from this consolidation right here, what would it look like? Whoops, let me readjust it right there. Okay, beautiful. 363 to 380 seems like a good zone upon breaking out. I actually think that things could go higher though, to 430 to 440-ish region, something like that, man. All right, cool. I would nominate Carl from the Moon Show for your influencer fight. Don't know if he's training, man. All right, let's see what the chat says. Okay, 15-minute scalping, yeah, very low volatility, unfortunately, but up long. All right, so you guys, okay, no, I'm going with no on this one. No right here. Yeah, let's do, we'll bet a strong $30 right there. All right, so we are saying no under, Bitcoin will be under 63,500 by end of hour here. Let's now go to the 15-minute time frame. We'll do a 10 lot right there. Where's my 15-minute right here? And what are people saying for the 15-minute? People are saying up. Let's actually check it out for Bitcoin really quickly. Then we'll get back to these super chats. All right, Bitcoin, what you doing? Actually, probably up. Yeah, I would be saying up. I'm buying that. I'm buying 30. I like that one actually. Cool. All right, let's see. Let's move on from there. We'll check in on our results a little bit later. Okay. Whoa, I've actually missed a shit ton of these super chats. My apologies. Okay, G Kai says Krown new versions of LTI and Pesto Fear. Yep. If you see the purple icon, then that means it is updatable. I haven't even updated my own ones right here. But yeah, all you need to do, just click the purple icon. Boom, gives you an update. Very, very nice. Very, very beautiful. Okay, nice. All right. Yeah, the hourglass says why you can search your videos by oldest. It's been a journey. Yeah, man, it really has. It's been really crazy, man. Also become like the joy of my life at this point too. 69 Eric Krown, nice name, sounds familiar. RKLB, enter or pullback probable upside target. Again, without like time frames, what the fuck you're trying to do. There's just no way to answer this question accurately, or like in a mature fashion. Where would I enter? If you're on an hourly time frame, it's gonna be a lot different than a monthly time frame, of course. We did get the move that I was looking for when you asked about, maybe it was you or maybe it was someone else, but someone asked about this either last week or on Monday. I said this thing was gonna rally up to about 85, 86 bucks. It's already gotten there. I think that it can go for more, but in the short term, probably a bit of a pullback here. I mean, it just already pulled back a little bit. Look, if you want to pull back and fill that $71 gap, I think that's fair game for another higher low. Do you want to enter there or not? I don't know. I don't know what the hell you're trying to do, man. Again, if you're on a quarterly time frame, do I really want to be long in it here? Probably not. No. If I'm looking for like a daily swing trade, well, I probably also don't want to long it here either. If I'm looking for an hourly swing trade, yeah, I probably have a short-term upside move towards like 83, 84 bucks, but Again, without context, I don't know what the fuck is right for you, sir. um, anyways, Peter Underwood says, should the code work for UK residents yet? Yeah, unfortunately, I have gotten word from Coinbase that the shill link for Coinbase, which gives you all of those benefits and whatnot, they're not going to allow UK people or Canada, I think it was as well. And then like, it's like Cuba. Something like that. It's something weird like that. I don't know, man. You got to speak with your fucking with your kings and overlords there, I suppose. Maybe I don't know. They just don't like it. It's bad. It's bad. Okay. Anyways, Mr. D says, sir, my 184 entry NBES blew past 230 resistance to 244 on Q2 earnings. Is 215 the new daily higher low support, or do we scale more off into 260? I mean, again, you are free to do whatever the hell you want to do, but would I be taking some off the table right here? I wouldn't mind. Look, I do think it's going to go higher, but I mean, based off of what you said, look, I don't hate taking some profit here. Yes, I do think it's going to go higher. I think it's probably above $300. You know, if you fast forward a few months from now, probably like well above $300. But you know, taking profit along the way, never a bad thing. It sounds like you're doing more of a short-term trade to begin with. So, look, you're big in profit right now, man. Like, I would be taking at least some money off the table. McDonald's House says XAG, that would be silver. Let me go to silver right on over here, 65.5. Probably going to do the same thing as gold. Ultimately, I do think that this thing might rally a little bit more. It's already a little bit weaker than gold, we can see. If it does want to extend this rally, I'd just be looking towards the 200 simple, somewhere around like 70 to 71 bucks. Again, that's your sort of like classic bear market rally target. In this case, yeah. Like, I don't think gold's failed yet, so I wouldn't say that silver's failed yet either. But when gold fails, it's going to be probably a little more obvious, and that's when I'd look for silver to fail, as they typically do go hand in hand with each other. So, yeah, I wouldn't call it just yet. No. Still think there's a shot for a little bit higher. And I mean, shit, from 65 bucks to 70 bucks, that's close to a 10% move. So, you know, not something small, especially for silver. As far as the weekly goes, though, yeah, maybe one more shot up to 70 bucks, but that's where I start to get like pretty skeptical on something like this. Same thing with gold. If gold is hitting that with 4,500 at the same time, then yeah, could, you know, probably a good sign. But I still want to see it in real time. I really want to see this in real time. Unwilling to call it right here. But yeah. Anyways, Buckstar Crash says, can I use the link on an existing account? I'm assuming you're talking about Coinbase. If you have not been active for 90 days on your Coinbase account, then yes, they will let you transfer over to my shill link and get all, you know, get those privileges and whatnot, those special prizes. But yeah, I mean, they obviously have their own interest with this. They don't want like everyone to jump on it because they only want new people joining in. You know, I get their side of things, but of course, you know, it is annoying. Anyways, Chris Fella says Hut Daily Weekly. Gotcha, man. This is Hut A. We haven't looked at this, I think, since last week, maybe. Weird one here on the daily, actually. Weird one overall, in fact. Let's go to a monthly. I'm a lot more inclined to say that this thing does try some downside here, but it's not going to be like a full-on breakdown, but maybe down to like 72, 73 bucks. If I go down to a daily, it's like you got bullish divergence here, regular bullish divergence, I should add, but it's also rejection. So I don't think that's going to hold. And yeah, and lo and behold, 2 seconds later, as it does come down a little bit more, that regular bullish divergence does get negated, and you do have an actual downtrend here. I'll be betting on some downside, man. I think you're going to low 70s, but I don't think it's going to be like a true breakdown or nothing like that. I think that there's a real shot for a potential higher low around that region. Monthly's had a pretty good reset. Quarterly, a reconnect with that red 5 EMA at about 72, 73, 74, whatever, somewhere down around there would make a lot of sense to me on this move. But don't confuse that with like overall bearishness, or at least not just yet. That's what I'd say about that. All right. Tex Hex and Friends says, yes, Krown, I feel the burn. I don't know what that's in reference to, but I think it's good. All right, what's Bitcoin doing here? We're going down on the 15-minute. Uh-oh. It's all over now. It's all over. Did I bet? I bet on under 63,500, but I think I bet on up for the 15-minute time frame. Yeah, just fucking flip a coin on this one. Yeah, that's gonna look a lot more down in a moment. Anyways, let's see. Hella Schwan says OC Owens coming. Okay, let me go back to the hourly here though. See what the hourly looks like. Oh, the hourly already shifted those strikes real fast. We're probably in some pretty good profit here. I think we might just need to take profit on that. Hold on. Hold on. Hey, just let me do it. Wait, maybe I need to go through this avenue. No. Yes, there we go. All right, 2 positions. Boom. That's the one we're looking at. Oh, that's on Friday. Okay. God damn it. On fucking Friday. I thought that this was the hourly. Anyways, my apologies to myself for fucking that one up. Let's go back over here. We can choose a different hourly instead. All right. Let's see. Okay. Yes, OC. Owen's coming. Or did we just do that? Owen's coming. Yeah, pretty good here long term. Anyways, you are looking at a daily and a monthly 138 to 145-ish entry. Would I like that? Yeah, I wouldn't hate it. I do think that this thing is probably ready to try some upside probably over the next month or two back to like 180. So I'm not necessarily confident that you actually get back down to those numbers. Maybe 145. Oh, you did say 145. So yeah, I do think that first gap right there at about 145 could make some sense. You do have a very small, like it's very, very small amount, but it does exist of bearish divergence on the daily RSI. So that is building. So small step down there, but I'm not looking for this thing to fall down or anything like that, like below 130, for example. Yeah, I like that zone. Yeah, overall, okay. That's really all I got to say about that, man. Yeah, generally over the next couple of months, I expect this thing to rally back up towards probably the previous highs, maybe make new highs. I mean, the quarterly does have a very strong higher low right there. Beautiful on hidden bullish divergence, reclaiming all major moving averages, volatility rising. Yeah, doesn't need to be any more complicated than that. All right, sweet. Okay, Andrew Plus says, what's your take on NVIDIA here, daily and weekly? Okay, let's see. My Endurpia. Jeez, this is good. Wow, that is fucking wild, man. Hard not to be bullish on that. Multiple drives of hidden bullish evidence, yet another higher low, reclaimed all major moving averages, volatility rising up. I think that this sent it up to new highs, I guess. The market that never goes down. That's crazy though, man. This one's a semiconductor. Are the semis done then? Because this is the main one. Let me go look at Intel. Intel probably is a rally here. I'm not convinced that rally is going to bring you back to those highs though. Or some of the other strong semis, maybe AMD. Let's see what this one's doing. This one's certainly a lot more corrective in the short term, but yeah, not necessarily bad long term. Yeah, some of these semis look pretty bad, but some of them, these last 3 look okay, at least for short term rallies, and especially NVIDIA. Yeah, very interesting right there. Very, very interesting right there. Anyways, Steven Schickman says Zeta. Let's check out what Zeta's doing. Last we looked at it, it was breaking out, but short term probably has a little bit of a short term pullback. And that's what we're getting right now. And yeah, I really don't have much to add on to this, man. If you do get a short term pullback on a daily, I don't think it's that concerning. Maybe because you do have a small amount of bearish divergence there on the daily time frame. You know, maybe another move back down to like 25, 26 bucks. Test the breakout area, which is these last few highs here, like basically 25 and a half, 26 bucks. But ultimately, I think that this thing's ready now, man. This is good. This is good on a monthly. This is very good on a monthly. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing make new highs sometime in Q4, maybe like early Q4 perhaps. And then you're looking at SOX, SOXS. Okay, got it. All right, sweet. Not good, of course. And with the other ones that we were looking at, especially NVIDIA, NVIDIA is poised for new highs. It's kind of fucking crazy. This one we were looking at coming down yesterday, or no, Monday when we looked at it. It's got hidden bearish divergence right there. It's a weird phantom drive, but like I said, those typically do play out. Probably looking at 35 and a half, 36 bucks. Again, a hard one. Especially with those stocks going up, you have to be expecting this thing to go down more, even if the broad semiconductor sector is kind of fucked. Anyways, cool. All right. EMS says, Krown, I'm now with you. With what? My Monte Carlo AI simulation. So show Bitcoin bottom is in. ETFs created a floor. Interesting. I'm curious, what did you use to run the Monte Carlo simulation? I know you can actually do it through Claude now. So what I did is actually connected Claude to Central Command, and then I was able to basically drag price from Central Command into Claude. So it could actually like reference things, which was pretty damn cool. but I haven't gone that deep with Monte Carlo simulations. In Claude at least. There used to be an indicator on TradingView that could do it, but it's kind of hard to trust like a random indicator, to be honest with you, because I don't really know how to audit the code myself. Asked, he says, love this studio setup. It's true man cave. Indeed it is. Indeed it is. It's my pride and joy right now. I love it. But there's still more that we can do. I need to figure out a better camera situation, which I think I have a solution for, but just going to take a little bit of time. But we're downloaded in. But so far, really, 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 really fucking good. Chief Deadly says SNDK. Okay. SNDK, short time frame daily. All right, let's go over here. This one, I mean, if you're on a weekly, I do like this one for up from here. Daily time frame, I think you got a little bit of upside as well, probably back up towards that previous high from August. You got a phantom drive bullish divergence right here, and you even have an inverted herp and derp on the RSI, which these typically do actually matter more than what you get on price action, in my experience. So I think you're poised for a little bit of an upside move here. And you did say that you're short, like shorter term time frame. Yeah, I'd be looking for a move somewhere right around there. Do you reject on the first pass? Probably yes, but there is a good shot that this thing does rally up here. I think that a lot of these semiconductors, computer peripherals, electronic sort of things, they're getting like, they're going to get some rallies here. I mean, especially led by NVIDIA. It's just my personal opinion is that while NVIDIA probably does have new highs, I'm not sure that something like this would necessarily, but yeah, you even have some hidden bullish divergence developing here. I mean, shit, look at that weekly RSI. It's way lower than even your lows from November of last year, which this thing was trading at like $200. So December of 2025. Wait a second. That seems so long ago. That's wild. Time flies, I guess. Anyways, Straight Path says, GM sir, iron ripper dip low. Is LTF low term or long term? that's my question to you, ma'am. Usually you'd say high term time frame, so HTF. So I'm gonna guess low term time frame and broader outlook. Ripper dip. So we are getting the rally that we spoke about when you asked on it, I think Monday and last Friday. Finally got to $45. So nice one right there. Do I think go a little bit higher from here? Yeah, in fact, you kind of do have a nice low right here. You got the inverted herp and derp actually. Left herp, right, left herp, a derp, and then the right herp over here. Your neckline would be where? Your neckline would be effectively $45. Closing above there on a daily, I do think that you have a nice shot up towards 50 plus. Short term, maybe a short term pullback in today to like 41.80, but I don't think that that's super concerning. I'd be bullish on this thing as long as you're above this week's low at 38.69. Bullish in the short term and the medium term. To be fair, you do have a higher low here on the weekly time frame as well, and there is going to be some natural hidden bullish evidence that develops between the lows from March and this low right here. So yeah, I do think that just like the other ones, you're in a rally phase right now. Wouldn't be surprised to see this thing in the mid to low 50s in the next month and a half, something like that, man. Let's go back to Kalshi really quick. Let's see what we're doing over here. All right, Bitcoin price today at 2 p.m. Eastern time, so that is end of hour. All right, what are we betting on, guys? I'm going to hand the keys over here to the crowd. We're going to be above or below 63,400. That's the strike that actually has like some good numbers on there. Let's go check what price is looking like around here too. Let's actually go down to maybe a 30-minute time frame. I'll be betting above. I'm betting above. I don't care what your opinion is. I'm betting above. Gonna bet $40 above. All right, do it. Batman, he says, hi, Krown, I'm hooked on Kalshi. Now, don't do it. Don't do it. Again, if you're going to do it, I would just humbly implore you to treat it in the same way as me. It's just fun money that I can afford to lose. It's just fun. It's just fun. Just a fun, silly time. A fun little silly time. All right. But sorry, I skipped a bunch of super chats. Just see that. We have Crypto Moon Based. He says U.S. oil. Okay. Let me bring it out over here. Oil and, oh, you're looking at the perpetuals. Okay. So you're trading this on what, like MEXC or something? All right. Fair enough. I would prefer to look at the actual chart. It's going to be the same thing, I'm pretty sure. This one's trading at $82. This one's also 82.91. So very, very similar right there. Oh, you're on a 4 on in a 30 minutes. Okay, so that does matter. And I suppose since we are going to these timeframes, maybe this can be okay. Oh God. All right, let's go to an hourly maybe. I do think it's setting in a short-term base at $81.50. But short term, I expect another test down towards 81.77. 4-hour time frame. Yeah, short term, a little bit of a downside try, but I'm not looking for a breakdown here. Ultimately, I do think this thing gets another run towards 82 3/4 to maybe even $83. We're right here. I'd like to look at the underline just to see, like, if I'm missing something. Let's go back to the 4-hour time frame. Okay, this is a different look here. I like this one for setting in a base where it's already at. Yes, maybe get a short-term pullback, but I do think that you rally up from there. Weird though, this chart certainly does not match this chart. That is strange. I would look into the contract specifications to figure out like why the discrepancy. Like what is this being marked off of? But if I'm just looking at US oil, I do think you got a little bit of short-term upside, back up to like 83 and a half would be the similar sort of price here. So yeah. All right. Okay. Get a camera with a full frame sensor and a medium format adapter. What does that even mean? I need to screenshot this and send it to my advisor, Claude. When I have the distortion of a wide angle lens, this will allow the camera to be close to you, but capture all the back. Oh, okay. So you're saying I could set up, because right now I actually do have a wide angle lens in it, but you're saying that I could bring it even closer to myself and it will still show the full background. I think I could probably even do this with this one, but the problem is figuring out how to mount it, on my desk. Anyways, that's a problem for later. Okay, let's see. We are now at Joey Burden 35 is looking at XRP. Oh dear Lord, there's always someone. Yeah, we can look at it. I mean, at least it's different time frames here, 4 on a daily. It is now nearly just at $1 exact, and ultimately you do have bullish divergence building up here between all of these lows and what you're doing over here. But God, man, you can't hate him for thinking that this just looks weak as shit over here. 4-hour time frame. You had some bullish divergence in that low. It already rallied up and already rolled over. You know, I do think that you dip back down a little bit closer to $1. Probably try another bounce there. Other than that, man, I mean, follow the yellow brick trend. It does look pretty awful here. I would really be focused on the weekly on something like this. I know you didn't ask about this time frame, and I do feel bad like not making it super, direct towards you. But at the end of the day, man, I don't have a strong opinion on the 4-hour or the daily there. Realistically, the weekly time frame is the one to be mindful of. And if you can reclaim 105 on a weekly closing basis, I think there's some hopium here for a low being in. Until then, though, I mean, shit, the trend is your friend, and the trend is down on every time frame that matters the whole way through. And ultimately I wouldn't be expecting it to stop until you get to like 70 or 80 cents. But in the short term, do I think there's a little bit of hoping? There's always a little bit of hoping, but that's what would be required for me to reclaim about 105 on a weekly closing basis, to say, hey, there probably is a low in here and you probably are getting ready for a rally up to like 120, 125 region. But until then, hard one to love for sure. And if Bitcoin shows any more weakness here, especially below $62,000, like just below $62,000, this one's going to get absolutely fucking, it's going to get absolutely fucking shish kebab, man. Not good. But if Bitcoin salvages itself, what do I expect for this thing? I think it's going to do the same thing too. Just maybe not as strong. Anyways, Joey Burden says, Bear Moon just fired today. Oh, fuck. We done goofed. I didn't recognize the bear moon has come again. The night man has cometh. And he is exactly right. Joey Burden is precisely right. The bull moon, not bad. Let's see, what do we get? We got a 4.5% move. That's all we can do. The bear moon, however, well. I guess we shall aware the Twitter people later on. All right, cool. Okay. What else do we have? Devald Dovolka says, can you look at CVS? We did earlier. You can look at it again if you really want. Like I said, overall, I really like this one, but I'd like to pick it up a little bit lower. Short term, you might see a short-term bounce here. I don't know necessarily what time frame you're looking at because you didn't really ask for it. But personally, I want to see it between like $85 and $90 before I start to nibble at it. But I would also be not that surprised if it did take off from here. But yeah, $86. I'm going to stick to my rules here. If it happens, it happens. If it don't, Oh well, on to the next one. On to the next one. See how our Kalshi's doing right now. Oh man, we're in. Nope, I'm losing $3. Holy shit, it's all over. It's all over. Wendy's, you want to look at Wendy's? We can look at Wendy's. Why not? Let me get rid of this for right now. Let's go over here to, I think the symbol is literally just when. Yeah. Great symbol. Great ticker. Wendy's, like, God, this is just disastrous over the last, 5 years. But I do think it's trying to put in a low right here. And I do think that it absolutely does have a swing low in. Does it have the next macro low in? Maybe. You're on the 200 simple on the quarterly time frame. That just doesn't happen all that often. And at the very least, I'd be looking for a big bounce here. I see a massive, 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 massive volume climax on that low on what was almost a bullish engulfing, but more importantly, a dildo that didn't just reclaim the 200 simple, but also, it reclaimed the 200 simple. It was on extreme volatility and on massive volume. Yeah, all of these things good enough for at least a major massive swing low. Do I think it's going to be a macro low? Look, I think if you want to position around that, that makes a lot of sense. Nothing's guaranteed, but I think that's pretty damn good do overall. Where would risk management be? Below about 670. Below there, yeah, it's fucked until then. I'll be treating this as a low for me, and it just might take a long time, man. I mean, shit, you just went down, straight down in a disastrous fashion since 2021. I don't think it's going to be all, I don't think it's going to like V-bottom out of here, for example. But yeah. Daily time frame, I think you probably got some upside here, back up to those July highs, maybe even higher. I mean, again, I think it's trying to put in a low there. Anyways, okay. Joey Burden says Zcash. Okay, Zcash, full hour and the derpy. Okay, we got the daily right here, and yeah, overall, I still like Zcash, man. Especially on a day like today when Bitcoin, is looking kind of flaccid. Zcash still holding it up. In fact, even green on the day and reclaiming yesterday's high all along the same, and all at the same time reclaiming all major moving averages on low volatility. I think this is a consolidation range here, similar as before. Okay, I guess I haven't done it for the daily, but let's do it for the daily really quickly. Consolidation range, 450 to the downside versus 530 to the upside. I don't think it's ready to break out to the upside right now, but I do think that it is a bullish bias here, and you will be confirmed above 530 for a real bullish breakout on the daily, which then leads to actually a weekly move, which brings you up to probably about $600. And from there, I think that this is just general trend continuation. Monthly time frame, just, top down view. I'm bullish on this thing, especially as long as you're above 450. It's not bad. Anyways, short-term downside target. I'm not really bearish on this one short term. If it does want to have like another try like in the range, I'd be looking maybe somewhere around 460, maybe as low as 450. But I'm not really looking for new lows here. Or if it does, I mean, at that point, you probably wouldn't want to buy it. I mean, shit, at that point, you're probably going sub $400. That'd destroy a lot of things in my opinion. Anyways, Joey Burden says gold 4 hour and daily. I'm ready and itching to short. We've already looked at this one a couple times. I don't have anything new to say about it. Look, if you short, do I think you're going to be on the right side of the trade if you fast forward like 6 months from now? Yes. Are you going to be on the right side of the trade if you fast forward a couple weeks from now? That I don't know. If you're on a 4 hour time frame, you got multiple dreads of bearish divergence here already. So if you're just trying to for a short-term short down of like 43.50, 43.60, I think that's fine. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that's very, 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 very likely. But this would be a lot more picture perfect if it did at least get to the 200 simple on the daily time frame. So it is what it is, man. I don't know. At the end of the day, it is, I guess, in alignment with your risk tolerances, sir. Mizzou Made says been waiting. Is Mizzou, Missouri? Been waiting like 6 months for cheap Bitcoins. If it goes to $40,000, King Arthur himself couldn't pull me out. I'm gonna be balls deep in that Bitcoins. All right, how we doing over here? Still, oh my God, I'm down 178. Oh, this is bad news, man. It's bad news. Should we play another 15-minute? Should we? I'm pretty sure I lost the previous 15-minute. That was bad. It's real bad. Let's see what it's looking like right here. I I'm not so confident about that 63400 number at this point. I think that's going to go into the loss category. All right, we'll move on to Asti. She says, Krown, I want to invest long-term in farmland. The two tickers are land and FPI. Okay, so you want to compare these? Let's compare them directly to each other. That would be the best way to do that. Okay. And, oh, sorry, let me actually use this chart for Bitcoins, and this chart we'll use for this. One moment. Land and FPI. Okay, there we go. Okay, so land is a numerator here, and it is doing absolutely terribly. I would absolutely must have to prioritize FPI over land. In fact, if anything, land, I mean, just put in another lower high on the quarterly time frame right there. So if this is going to be a long-term thing, I would absolutely be favoring land over FPI. Let's look at the underline here. Oh, they both look bad versus the dollar. Damn. Yeah, that's rough. But yeah, at least one looks less bad than the other, I suppose. Yeah, this farmland partners. Weird. It actually, I'm looking at the right one. I would have not expected to have seen this. In this case, land would look like it's way worse. Okay, did I do that right previously? Okay, land is a numerator. So land is going down. Sorry, no. Oh, God, Asti. Oh my God, I apologize. FPI. Yeah, good thing that I looked at these individualistically. FPI is definitely the winner here. Yeah, as soon as we looked at land chart, I'm like, wait a second. I'm not doing this right. Not a tremendous fan of this chart, but yeah, it is absolutely worlds better than the land chart. Land is down away. This one at least has kind of a chance here, but if I'm shooting straight, I think this one does have some downside from here, which is probably less than land, if I had to guess. Yeah. All right, cool. CEPH says RDW, weekly, monthly, if done already. No, we have not done RDW, but we certainly have done IREN, I think. I'm starting to kind of like Red Wave and a lot of these defense stocks put in higher lows here. You do have hidden bullish divergence, and you have reclaimed all major moving averages. Ultimately, it's the monthly chart that's really going to decide if this thing is going to put in a monthly low. But so far, so good. If it finishes out the month here or higher, I would say that it is. Doesn't mean that you're not going to have like a little bit of downside, but I do think that downside, might at worst get you down to like $11 and probably going to be another higher low on like a daily or something. But for now, more good things than bad going on here. Bi-weekly time frame, I think, is the real one. And that one closes on Friday. So you got to wait about 2 days for this one. If it finishes here or higher, I think that sets this thing in for a nice move, maybe at the end of this month or maybe in September, back up towards that, upper teens, maybe low 20s area. Yeah. And super easy position to manage here too. I mean, as long as you're above, especially this week's low, fine. But I would even say as long as you're above about $11, I would treat it as, okay, some good hopium. Batman86 says, hey, Krown. Oh, no, yes, I already read that. But you're looking at Duolingo. Or no, that's not Duolingo. This is Fanged. Nice. All right. Looking to swing to 160 personally. Wait, what? Wait, what's up? Did I do this right? Because this thing's trading at 64 cents. So wait, what's up? You said something about 160. Maybe you mean, can you, if you're still here, Batmanny, can you let me know in the bottom of the comment section, exactly which ticker you're looking at? Cause I really hope to God it's not this thing. Maybe it is Duolingo. Maybe it is. That would make a lot more sense. You're looking for a swing to 160. I don't think it's going to happen in the short term here, but yeah, do I think you can get up to 160? Yes. But don't be surprised if you have a downswing first, something like this, try for a higher low and then put in your move instead of just going straight up from there. Yeah. I mean, you do have hidden bearish divergence building right here. And second that you really start to come back down below that 120 low, I think that really does start to play out. For right now, you can see prices obviously accumulating right at the 200 simple. So that is your breakout confirmation, which is effectively what, like one... why are they not there? That would be effectively 139. If you close above there, then yeah, I do think you break out first. Until then, I'd probably bet on this one pulling back first for a higher low and then trying the rally. This is another example of kind of like a a rally that I would not be that excited about because you set in no higher lows along the way here. It's just one straight move up from the low. So yeah, usually reserve a lot of skepticism for those holding overall. Andrew Plus says SMCI daily and weekly. Okay, gotcha. SMCI. Let's check it out. And we're 10 minutes away from. We're up to almost 10 big ones, baby. Fuck yeah. Let's see. We got a 10-minute dildo right here. I think we're gonna do it. I think we're gonna make a little bit of money. That's good because we just lost money on the 15-minute. Okay, all good, Batman. Yeah, I see you over there. SMCI. Okay, yes, right. Another semiconductor or computer processing related type thing, and I would say the same as the other ones. This one with a nice rally here. I think that it probably does go a little bit higher. This one, however, in comparison to a lot of the other ones, there's some real hopium here. It's not necessarily confirmed just yet, but I'll tell you where the real hopium is. The real hopium is back above that swing high because you already have a higher low. Now, previously I was anticipating a rally back up to this region and then a rejection. I don't know if I would stand by that as of this moment. I think that there's a real shot for this thing to try a real reversal here, but it won't be confirmed until you're back above about 51.31. At that point, I think that this thing is really fucking good. But just the fact that you do have a weekly higher low in right there, that's a good sign. This really could be a real reversal. Monthly time frame is not bad here as well. So I'm actually not particularly bearish on this one. And if you can reclaim that previous weekly high, I think this is actually going to be a big winner back up to like $80. Overall, I mean, look, it's going to take like, a month or two from when that happens. But yeah, overall, that'd be pretty fucking good in my opinion. So cool. If you're on a daily, you probably get a little bit of short-term pullback after filling that gap somewhere around like $40.50 to $41. But I don't think that that's necessarily like that relevant to maybe what you're asking about. All right, Jordan Weaver has left a super chat, but no chat. He says CRV penis. Symbol doesn't exist. Did you mean CRV perhaps? All right, let's see what this one looks like. The old crypto shitcoin rallied up here. Oh, what do you know? A popcorn rally in a never-ending fucking downtrend. Yeah. These things can have popcorn rallies, of course. I would still flush this thing to the fucking garbage and beyond, but yeah. I mean, it probably presents a really nice shortable opportunity. I don't know if I'd do it right here, but maybe if it got close to like 34, 35 cents, that'd make a lot of sense. Yeah. Shit, I'm actually going to make a note of this one. Anywhere, yeah, especially like 35 to 40 cents. That would actually look pretty damn good to me. I'm going to make a note of that. Not that I really like to trade these things, but it is fun to watch every once in a while. You do have some monthly bullish divergence, to be fair. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see this one put in a popcorn rally all the way to like 35 to 40 cents. But do I think it's going to be a real reversal? No, I don't think so. I don't think so, sir. Anyways, Andrew Plus says, let's check on Tesla. Okay, Tesla derp over here. This one's still holding above 320, which is okay, I suppose, but what time frames are you looking at? Daily and weekly. All right. Daily time frame, short term, found a local high. Do you think that you swing back down probably closer to like 310 to 315 region? I'm not calling like a breakdown from there. I just think a short term downswing. That's a daily. Weekly, nothing really new to add here. I still personally would really like to see a move down to about 280 to 290. Doesn't necessarily need to happen, but that would just fulfill a lot of things that I'm looking for to potentially, actually add to some of my positions there. But for right now, yeah, short term, I do think you got a local high in right there, swing back down. Hopefully it makes it easy and just puts in a higher low, like somewhere around here, like, anywhere above $300 realistically will be a higher low and then swings back above this current high from yesterday at 335, 336. If you see something like that, then yeah, I think lows are in. But until then, I'm going to hold out personally for my lower targets. I'm less and less optimistic that they will get hit, unfortunately, but it is what it is, man. That's trading. Cool. All right. Krown, commies forbid us to gamble online, even got a majority in a referendum because of foster home majority. Do you happen to know how I could wire money to them? VPN wouldn't be a problem. I don't know. I mean, if you can fund your account through PayPal. So it's actually like not, I mean, assuming you have a PayPal account is Shouldn't be that difficult. I don't know though. As always, pay attention to your local laws and don't do things that commies wouldn't like, because they won't like that. And those kind of people that are throwing you a fucking gulag. Anyways, Too Much Espresso says Robo. Yeah, this is one that I own myself. I really, really like Robo. Daily and weekly. Both of these I like. Both of these I think are going up to about 87, 88 bucks. And ultimately, I think that's just a continuation of this overall uptrend. This thing is not topped yet. You know, if I'm looking for an invalidation, it's effectively the $75 low. That is a very, very, very important low here. That's what's running the current hidden bullish divergence. That is where the current volatility spike came from. So ultimately, I'm looking for that to hold and this thing to go sideways and up from here. That also means if you do come back down below that number, then yeah, it's fucked. Or even below like 78 bucks, probably be pretty bad. I think Rosie's knocking on my door right now. Poor little pup. My poor little pup is being left alone. Life is hard for a dog. Anyways, yeah, man. If you're just on a daily, I don't know if it's necessarily ready to like try that move towards 88 bucks exactly from here, but I do think that it's going to get there. Maybe fill the gap first of like 81.5, 82 bucks, and then try that move. I'm not that confident on the short term here. Anyways, we are 4 minutes away from the end of this hour. Are we in the money? Oh my God. Up 12 bucks. 12 fucking big ones, sir and sir. Thank you. Cool. All right. Let me scroll down here. All right. Overly Playful says TTD 6 monthly reconnect. Let's check it out. TTD. This is the trade desk. I don't know this one. There ain't no reconnect here. Oh, you're talking about to the upside? I don't know if shit like that works for shit like this. I mean, I guess it's not terrible, but I mean, like to use a major governor like that, I don't think that this thing has enough history for something like that for me to like trust in something like that on something like this. Yeah. Having trouble enough with the monthly, man. I would not trust it on someone. This is like a fucking flush right here, man. Is what it really is. I don't know. I don't know is the right answer, but I probably wouldn't bet on it. Like if it was my money, I would not be betting on it. I'd be betting on this thing trying more downside first, maybe closer to like single digits, and then you try a bounce, you know, just by the not so virtuous virtue of getting back down to your previous literal all-time lows. Yeah, this is ugly, man. I don't know. Hopefully you have some insider information or something like that, because I would not. I would not bet on it, man. I would not bet my own money on that. All right, Jordan Weaver's back. He says, for real. Link, yes. Short CRV to fucking zero. Whoa. Sounds very aggressive, sir. Jordan Weaver's been here a long time. Good guy, Jordan. Anyways, Link, kind of interesting right here, actually. And wow, I'm glad that you brought it up, because look, like long term, I don't think it's an interesting chart, but short term, it's kind of an interesting chart actually, because look at the weekly. That is worlds apart from what Bitcoin's doing on the weekly. These charts almost aren't even related. At any rate, you do have a pretty easy and obvious breakout area to the upside that actually would confirm something significant, and that would be effectively closing above that previous high from July, which is about 890, let's call it. If you can do that, you do have a higher low, and I would be looking for this thing to rally up towards about 9.5, 10 bucks. I don't know if I'd necessarily be super optimistic on it just based off the long term, but look, on the monthly time frame, I'm sure you got, or hopefully you have some, you do not have regular bullish divergence, unfortunately. I was hoping there was going to be some there that would have made this a lot more easy, but you know, if you can start to reclaim that high, I do think that there is a good shot for a move up back into like low double digits. Let's call it 10-ish. But yeah. It's very interesting, though, to see in the short term that this thing is doing something significantly different than Bitcoin. Daily time frame is right now testing the 200 simple moving average. That is also effectively your high from July. So if you can reclaim, again, that high from July, you start to reclaim some important things. This is on what is somewhat of a healthy RSI right now and also low volatility. So I do think that there is a real potential for a reversal here, but I'd still wait for that confirming factor, because ultimately, here's what the chart looks like long term, as you know. it can dump out of nowhere. So I would not front run a reversal until I get like full on confirmation personally. But hey, that's just me. We're at 11. We won. Holy shit, we did it. Guys, we did it. I'm buying everyone pizza. All right, let's play again. Anyways, all right, let's go to JGD, others total. Okay, we could do that. Whoops, let me go over here and let's see, others total. All right, no, that is not. I think you're probably looking at this. Funnily enough, this is the others chart that I actually personally like to look at. I think that this one actually does hold a lot of weight, and it is still very ugly and bearish. In fact, probably just putting another monthly lower high right there and probably getting ready for another swing back down. But I will wait for, or maybe you're literally looking at others divided by total. It's possible as well, although I'm not sure that, okay, that actually will work. You know, I'd say the same thing about this chart. Lower high right there, coming back down towards that April low, most likely. Overall bad. Overall very bad. But short term, if it wants to try a little bit of a rally, I mean, on a daily, probably try a little bit of a rally from here. Wouldn't be surprised to see it get back to like whatever this area is. It's a 0.08 number, whatever the fuck that means for this thing. But ultimately, long term, I think it's still going down. Just short term pops back up, maybe. Best case scenario, I think it might retest last month's open, something like that. Calamity says, Crownius, USAR, daily, weekly upside targets. Perhaps there are not. Let's see. Okay, so it already hit the easy one at 19 and a quarter. That's what we looked at last time we looked at, which I believe was either probably last Friday, I think. Don't think we looked at this one on Monday. I do think you got a bit of a pullback from here. You do have some hidden bearish divergence building on the daily. I don't think it's going to be a reversal, but I do think you come back down and maybe test around like 17 and a quarter. Then again, hold on. You already had that move, didn't you? Oh yeah, you did. Okay, you already kind of got down there today. I still think that there's a threat of a downside move here. If you do, next sort of target would be about 16-ish, give or take a quarter from that number. At the same time, if you can reclaim Monday's high at 1976, I do think you have a nice upside move here towards 21.5, $22. And I do think there are some signals that are conducive to this as well. You got hidden bullish evidence here on the weekly time frame. Not a humongous fan of this chart overall, but that does exist right there. You know, overall, I don't think that there's an easy move for me right now on this thing. The easy move was calling for the reconnect with the 5 EMA. That was moved to about 19 and a quarter, 19 and a half. We already saw that. Next one, I probably just wait for potentially a break of that Monday high. If it does, I think that you do have a pretty decent upside move here, not just like basically $22, but, you know, realistically could get up a lot more than that. But it's another one that I want to see in real time. And if that breaks, until then, I just don't want to have a strong opinion right here. Because if anything in the short term, I mean, you could argue that the pullback already happened. It's nothing obvious to me right now, I would say. As far as upside targets go, you already hit the easy one, in my opinion. Now, if you're going to have any further upside targets, you're basically betting on a reversal happen. So if you saw the reversal happen, yes, I'd be looking at least $22. Probably goes higher to that, you know, probably looking more so around like 24.5 to 25 if that were to happen. Yeah. All right. All good, Mr. Weaver. Mr. Weaver. And we got ENTG over here for Kush Squad. Continuation to all-time high if closed this week above 152. Let's check it out. This one played me like a fucking fool. Very embarrassing, very bad, but it's part of the game. I'm not perfect. Yeah, I'm liking this, man. I'm liking this. If it closed above 152, that doesn't really do much for me here. I'm bullish on this thing. I'd be bullish on this thing as long as you're above about 140. And then it's really about the monthly. If you're playing this thing for like a real breakout, a monthly almost is too short of a time frame. It's the quarterly and the 6 month that are the real ones that have really shown the way the whole way through. Here on the 6 month, you do still have that hidden bullish evidence as you do on the 3 month time frame too. And these have never broken structure, although they did look ugly at one point. They never really broke structure. So ultimately, they are good. It's the weekly that done fooled me. But like I said, it's part of the game, man. Yeah, as far as that goes, you are asking continuation of all-time high if we close the weekly above 152. I wouldn't necessarily say that. I'm more so looking at the monthly on this one. The monthly pivot is about 148, or sorry, 144 if you want to be super exact, as of the moment. Above there, yeah, probably in September you're going to see a retest of those highs and new all-time highs from there. Yeah, overall it's good, man. Bi-weekly time frame also closing on Friday, has hidden bullish evidence. That one's going to have hidden bullish evidence as long as you're above 144 even as well. So a couple of things coming in at 144. That's where my pivots, or around my pivot would be. Until then, I don't see 152 as like a confirmation that it's going to follow through on a breakout. I'm just bullish as long as you're above 140, basically. Cool. All right. Let's see. Enough for a pizza or to buy yourself a real special experience behind the Wendy's dumpster. Yes, I've heard about this. Wendy herself will come out with her little fucking Pippi Longstocking stockings and, I don't know, give you a hand job or something for, I don't know, buying some fucking curly fries. Do they even have curly fries? What do they have there at Wendy's? Do they have a No, Blizzard is Dairy Queen. What do they have at Wendy's? They have, what do they even have at Wendy's? It's like the most generic fucking fast food. It's pathetic. Pathetic. Pathetic, I say. It's time to bet on another hourly. What do you guys have? Bitcoin above or below 63,400 by end of hour. We got 45 minutes left to go. What's it gonna be, baby? What's it gonna be? Oh, baby, what's it gonna be? All right. Hey, Krown, do you have your AI sending out posts on X? I just received a post from you, and you are doing TA. I schedule posts, so I will do all. I will basically make all of my posts for the day on X in the morning, unless if something like comes up really in the moment, and then I'll just schedule them. Because if you're on the web browser for X, you can like make a post right now and then have it just release at a later time. So yeah, you could also probably connect Claude to X. I imagine that there shouldn't be any issues with that. You could just say like, hey, post at this time. But I don't know, man. I still like to put my own thoughts on the X posts. Sometimes I have like Claude do their research for it, but at the end of the day, like there's no real point in just reposting like straight up fucking Claude slop. They used to have good root beer float. Oh, root beer floats. Oh, do you remember what was it? AMC? No, A&M. That's the one. They had the root beer floats. That's right. Are they still around? Well, I need to know this information. Hold on. It's AMC. Is A and M still around? The fast food. I swear my English language has gotten so bad since AIs came around, because I can type in like complete fucking Krown slop to my AI and somehow it understands exactly what I'm trying to say. Yes, it still exists. Holy shit. Yeah, root beer, burgers, and floats. Yeah. I remember we had one kind of like near where I was, A&W, A&M, A&W. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they're still around apparently. Nice. All right. What are we doing on a Kalshi, guys? What's it going to be? Up or down? Up or down? End of hour above 63.4 or below 63.4? I probably won't be live at the end of this hour, so I guess it's not that fun to play right now. I'd probably say below, actually. Add a bunch of vanilla to the barks. To the barks? Wait, what barks? ATM. ATM. Are you talking about ATM like a ticker? A and W is in Amigos. I don't know. What look back period do you use for the caretaker's divergence indicator? So I will show you exactly my settings right here. So there is absolutely no question about it. I use a 14 period, which is literally just default. I have played around and tried with different things in the past. I do think you could, if you were just looking at the Bitcoin index, you could use a slightly higher period to reflect for the fact that Bitcoin trades 24/7 versus stocks, which is really like 4. But realistically, I'm mostly looking at CME prices anyway. So, which actually doesn't matter that much. But if you do put it on certain hours, then it will. And of course, IBIT still works with this too. My signal period is a 12 EMA. Sometimes I put that to a 9. Either is fine, realistically. I mean, most of the time people aren't even looking at the EMA strategy, but you can see like it barely adjusts it. Like that is really not that big of a difference. Maybe a 5 EMA could be better, actually. Let's see. Does that make sense? Let's actually look at this on Bitcoin. I want to see if that does work better on Bitcoin. Let's go here to a daily. Okay. Let's blow this bitch up. Okay, yep, worked there. Did not work there. Failed, but paper cut losses. Yeah. You could definitely make a strategy around that, but I wouldn't just use that. You need some other gates around that, I think. Anyways, Chris Vela is looking at Tau crypto. Okay, so this is the one that's that guy from fucking what's it called? All In podcast was shilling like a couple months ago, and I remember I was saying I was looking at it as very bearish at the time. It was trading at like $300, or sorry, 350, I think it was, like back way back here. I said it was bearish. Said I would be shorting right here, and I like it. Although there might be a little bit of hopium for it trying to put in a low here. There is some regular bullish divergence building, so that definitely helps out that. But at the same time, it's just a setup. Look, if you do take out that July low at 183 and 73 cents, or sorry, 75 cents, if you do close a weekly below there, this thing it's going to make new lows. And if I'm looking at the monthly, yeah, I don't really have any reason to believe that it's truly going to try for a real reversal here. But hey, if you wanted to play a signal like that, that's how I do it. Would I take this trade? Absolutely fucking not on a down only asset. If I had to guess, this thing is going to go down only, and similar to like CRV that we looked at earlier. It's like you can get these down only assets which put in their popcorn rallies, but and you can like try to get those, which I think is a really difficult game. But I think the easier game is just after the popcorn rally happens, short it if you want to short it. Was Jason showing it? Do they have? Jason from All In Podcast. Yeah, Tau. Yeah. I think that's what it was. I just remember him posting on Twitter something about Tau, and then I remember a bunch of people were coming into my stream like maybe a day or two after that happened, and they were all talking about that. It's really weird, man. Like people will come into my stream and ask about a ticker, and I'll give them my opinion, and then they'll just be mad about the opinion because when I was telling them this, I'm like, well, this is a very bearish chart in my opinion. It's like, well, I guess you just don't really want an opinion. You just want me to tell you what you already thought, which who gives a fuck, right? I mean, like, we're just wasting your time and wasting your money, I guess. It's been years since I've eaten fast food. 3 days of doing the human pinwheel after eating Checkers broke me. Yeah, man. I totally understand that. I totally understand that, man. Like, I haven't had fast food in God knows how long. Like proper fast food meal. I had actually, I did have In-N-Out, I don't know, about a year ago. That was the first time in a long time. I guess that counts. Yeah. Asian Massage says I gave you $2. Wait, what? Okay, no problem. I will validate your bias. I will also tell you all of the sweet nothings that you want to hear in your ear, and even give you good fortunes in the future as well. If you can let me read your palm, that would be amazing. Anyways, Bitcoin up, Bitcoin down. Bitcoin up now. They want confirmation bias. Yeah, I mean, that is what a lot of, that's what just most people want in general, right? Like, it was like that guy earlier. Like, he comes into all my videos and he basically just gets, he'll just get mad. Like, if I don't have the exact same opinion as him, it's like, okay, that's fine. My opinion is my opinion. Your opinion is your opinion. Like, we can both have different opinions. Look, that's why we got markets. Like, you can buy based off of your opinion or sell based off your opinion. And I can do whatever the fuck I want to do as well. And it just shows up in the market. Like, it doesn't matter you arguing you're like, people arguing a point doesn't move price action. Buys and sells move price action. I don't know. It's always seemed funny to me when like people get mad at each other, especially on like Twitter as well, and like make fun of each other, you know, for like thinking price is going to do X, Y, or Z. It's like, it's just an idea. Like, who gives a shit, man? At the end of the day, we should be measuring ourselves by our long-term profitability. Are we profitable or not long-term? If you are, fucking great. Keep on doing what you're doing. If you're not, then don't. I don't know. Maybe consider something different, right? Anyways, Andrew Plus says Keel. All right, one moment. Yeah, there's definitely been a couple of NBISs already, so you'll be covered there, sir. As far as Keel goes, let's see, daily and weekly, we'll start high. I like this for trying for a low there. This one also different to a lot of the other computer related things because it still maintains this overall uptrend. And I like this correction right here too. So ultimately, I'm looking for it to kind of trade sideways and up from here. And you got a very easy and obvious invalidation below about 317 to turn bearish on a weekly closing basis. Until then, I think that you grind this area out. Probably some bullish evidence. Yeah, Phantom drive a bullish evidence here on the daily RSI. you know, I think you probably try a short-term rally from here. I don't think it's going to break out in the short term. I think it's still more sideways, but you know, sideways in a range on the lows is going to favor this as forming a major low, which effectively is the area between about 475 to the upside versus 317 to the downside. I think your next move is probably bounce, but I don't think it's going to break out or nothing like that. I think it's just going to be sideways, and then later on, I don't know, maybe like around September, October, you try for an actual breakout. Cool. It's human nature to search for information that confirms your preconceived notion. Yeah, I mean, everyone wants to be validated in a way. At the end of the day, you can only validate yourself, and even further than that, not only can you actually, you can't even really validate yourself, because at the end of the day, price will validate you or not. Price will tell you if you are wrong or right. It's a beautiful thing about it. It is the most honest judge. Just, it's going to do what it's going to do. What's your take on URG? Anything changing your opinion on the monthly? I haven't looked at that one in a while since I dumped it. Let's see, where's that? Let's see, where's my UR derp? Anything has changed on the monthly specifically? No, not yet. No. Don't love it, don't hate it. Like I said, when this one closed below, what was it, like 169 a few months ago, I just took my loss. It was a small loss at that point too. Now it's just dead money. So I'm always going to say the best thing to do in these situations is take your fucking money away and go put it in something that's obvious. I don't see anything that's obvious here. Yeah, I don't love it. I don't hate it. I think that it's trying to put in a base here, but it's not obvious to me. And the thing that I am confident about in this is I don't think you're going to see any like major upside move from here in the short term, nor a major downside move in the short term as well. So to me, it's dead money as an investment. I don't want any piece of that. I'm thinking in terms of opportunity cost and allocating to this. You know, you're better off being in a fucking money market, realistically. Asian Massage has been heavily involved in war analysis to glean trade signals. You've never seen people cope and seethe until you tell them that we can't get a carrier within 500 miles of Hormuz. Yeah, maybe. I mean, at the end of the day, like, do we even know what's going on there? Because most people are just like listening to some fucking asshole talking on YouTube or even on the news. Like, do they know? Do they even know the situation? They probably don't. Like, why would they know? They're not in the fucking, they are not the people actually making those decisions. They're just some assholes reporting on it. Probably haven't even been there. I think everyone's just kind of doing that in that case. It's like pure speculation. I don't fucking know. You don't know. No one fucking knows. I don't know. Seems like it'd be very, very difficult. It's the same thing with like trying to figure out what's going on in Ukraine, for example. It's like, I don't know. There's still a war going on, which I would imagine is probably not good for the Russians. Like they would probably end it as soon as they could if they could. So I can deduce from that probably not going the best for them. But other than that, like you see so much propaganda on both sides where like they will make you truly think that one side is absolutely dominating the other. It's just I don't see how we could possibly know. I don't think that they definitely don't know. I think most things are an informational war. Like I said, I spent some time because markets have been really fucking boring recently, especially in crypto. Looking at like what's it called? Oh my god, it completely just slipped my mind. It's gonna bug me for forever, but it's lost. It just lost. I know my yes, my OS and IT is excellent. That's right. Mine is and yours ain't. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what I was getting to. When you go on platforms like X or Facebook, you know, when Facebook first started, they had a bunch of fake accounts just to make it seem like there's people there. Same thing with Reddit as well. Like Reddit was mostly fake accounts putting content up to make it look like there was a shit ton of people there. And then, yeah, over time, you know, people naturally gravitated towards it. I think that's what a lot of goes on in social medias like X, for example, is a lot of it's bots. And then people will, you know, make these egregious claims that they have absolutely no proof of and that they have absolutely no evidence for. But it just is, it's literally because they are part of it, like an influence campaign. And then they have all of these people basically like it. And then that makes, you know, plebs like you and I think, oh God, like all these people have consensus here. If all these people have consensus, they can't be wrong. But do they really? Probably not. No. All right. I do know that we have some carrier breaking records from World War II on engagements per week. I mean, that would make sense. I mean, shit, what other time would we really have had that? You know, it is a wartime after all. SoFi daily, weekly, we could look at that. Let's see. Yeah, it's this one again. I still think you're in a sideways range here. I actually don't think it's bearish overall, but I don't think it's ready to break out anytime soon. I think you're doing a lot of this, a lot of sideways, and then yeah, maybe like later on this year it does try an upside move, but still just no validation until you're back above 20 bucks. And I think that this can go on for a long time too. You know, talk about dead money. This would be another good example of such things, at least in my opinion. Yeah. Oh yeah, Vietnam. But yeah, you're not really going to have like a carrier action in Vietnam. I mean, I don't think Vietnam has a navy, for example, or an air force for that example. Yeah. Kind of hard to engage an aircraft carrier when you don't have aircraft or a navy. There are mappers in Ukraine and Russia, which is why we know exactly. You mean like the actual positions of people? But yeah, I'm talking about the people, you know, especially on YouTube and X, who are saying like this side is losing this amount of people, thus, you know, they're winning by this amount, or this side is running out of money. Like they don't fucking know. They're just making up shit. They're just making up shit at the end of the day. Okay. Whoops. Let's see. Okay. All right. What the fuck is this? Okay. Yes. Blake says, yeah, it's pretty obvious. Newscasters are definitely out of the loop, considering they rode on Air Force One as a decoy while the president dipped out onto another plane. Yeah. I mean, in general, like, also, if you're the president, are you really going to tell the press exactly what you're going to do? Like, oh, for sure, our enemies are not listening to that. So don't worry, bro. It's definitely not going to get out of here. Like, like, come on. It's just ridiculous. And I think I've even heard Trump say that in the past. He's like, why the fuck would I tell you? Like that you can't just like lay out your strategic plans to the world. Pretty sure that's in The Art of War, right? It's like, tell your enemies exactly what you're going to do and then do it. Hey, Krown, can you check out BNS, Bank of Nova Scotia? All right. Can't say I've looked at this one before. It's a Canadian shitcoin, but pretty good. Weird. Canadian banks doing quite well in the markets. I don't think American banks look this good. Overall bullish, man. I think this thing's poised for new highs this month. Probably up to, I don't know, 130, 135 region, something like that, man. Okay. I think for the most part, people just want to believe a narrative, and then they just find information that confirms that, and then argue that that's the only factual information. But they don't actually know. They have no way of knowing realistically. Yeah, it is what it is, man. But I don't know. It's fun to talk about, I guess. But at the end of the day, it's like the people who are like really pretending to know. No, these people are shysters. Did you chase IBB? I did chase a little bit of IBB. I did. I had to. I couldn't let it go. I couldn't let her go. My little IBB, my little BB. I did buy a little bit at low 190s. So I guess I'm a little bit in profit there, but it was a very small position. If I'm going to chase something, I generally do like a fraction of the original position if I really feel compelled. This one I did feel compelled. But keep in mind, I already have a solid core position in XBI, which is another biotech ETF. It's just not as good, unfortunately, as IBB. And this one I bought like not a couple years ago, but a little over a year ago when this correction was happening below $80. So I'm quite happy with that. It's just, I would have been happier with IBB because that one is objectively better. I mean, measure the April low here to where it's currently at. That is a 138% gain. Not bad. I mean, look, I'm not fucking crying about this, but 138%, not bad. But let's compare that to IBB because relative returns do matter. And that is, hey, what? Oh, it is better. What the fuck? What am I looking at? Was there like a stock split or something here? It's only up 80%. Pathetic. Fucking pathetic. No, it should be up 100%. Okay. Anyways. Sell that Bankster stock. Next, Credit Suisse. Is it? I don't know. I'm going off technicals. I think it's got a little more upside there, though. But yeah, I don't know. What do the American stocks look like? Just out of curiosity. What is the ETF? I thought it was BNX, but is it BXN? No. Banks. No. This is gonna fucking BNX. I swear it used to be BNX. No, it wasn't. All right, I'm tripping out as usual. Okay, let's go back over here to the old coins. Bitcoin below 634. I should have taken it. Kalshi, I should have taken it. Oh, we're still early in this hour, though. We're still real early in this hour. Real early in this hour. But yeah, I think maybe we've already been on the stream here for about 2 hours. So I think maybe we shut it off on that note. Yeah, we'll shut off on that note. I'll do another regular video upload tomorrow. Hopefully with something new. Maybe PPI can give us the catalyst for something new to show up on our fucking screens, which would be massively, massively, massively appreciated. I mean, look, just a price handle that's above 67 or below 60. Something like that, I would be very happy with. Just show me something new here. Gold daily, weekly. We've already looked at gold a few times, but I guess I'll just end on this one. Gold, I still think this is a bear market rally. I would prefer to see it get a little bit higher to officially test the 200 simple, but it doesn't necessarily have to. That's 4,500 almost on the dot right now. I'm not seeing indications that it's put in a top just yet, but I think this rally will fail. So short term, if it has one more spike up towards that number, that'd be great. If it tops right here, you'll know because it's back down below about 42, 30-ish region. Until then, it's kind of like the liminal zone, if you will. Krown, see the original Top Gun. Those planes carry the Exocet missile, something, 100 miles. Anti-ship missile tech advanced drastically since then. Propulsion and guidance ways. That's cool. I don't know what that's about, but it's cool. I fucking love military technology. It's just awesome, man. All right, the Supra. Okay, last one for Supra. Let's actually look at BNB, just out of genuine curiosity here. BNB. This one always throws me for a loop because long term, it actually is an uptrend, which is almost non-characteristic of every fucking shitcoin to ever exist. But this one actually does have it. And you do have 1, 2, 3 drives of hidden bullish evidence on these last couple of lows. I really want to see this one close above 620. And I'd potentially call a macro low there, but you're looking at a 4-hour daily, so you don't give a fuck about that. And that's still pretty well far away. And as far as daily goes, I do think that you're going to pull back at around 625-ish region. Just that first test on the 200 simple 4-hour time frame has some bearish divergence building here as well. But these are not like death signals. I wouldn't be making anything of this chart until you get to the monthly closure. Realistically, monthly closure is the one that actually might have real implications for this thing having a major move. In this case, it would be to the upside if that happens. But yeah, I think this is also kind of a little bit hopium or compelling hopium for Bitcoins as well. If this one bottoms out, do I think Bitcoin's going to bottom out? Probably yes, but yeah. Cool. All right. Sweet. What's up, Farleon? Yeah. All right. Is it topping? I think it's probably close to playing out a bit of a pullback, but I don't think you're there just yet. But close. I don't think it has much more on this rally before a bit of a pullback. Maybe 625 and then down. All right, literal last one for Asti. Literal last one for Asti. Then we shall shut this bitch off. Not talking about Asti, I'm talking about my fucking stream because at this point, I'm tired. I'm tired and I'm getting a little bit hungry here too. Let's see. Let's go to Max C for this one. And hold on, that's not the right Max C one. I want, well, this will be okay for right now. Yeah, this is okay for right now. All right. Hype still hanging in there. I'm unwilling to call this one bearish right now. I still look at this one as trying to pivot off of last week's low at $57 or $58, basically. I think that you do have a setup right there. That is a very obvious invalidation. I'm not saying that it's guaranteed to hold up, but if you do lose $58, then I would call this one a full-on failure. Sorry. Reading the wrong number there. $52. Again, $52 is that pivot point, that line in the sand. If you lose that on even a daily closure, I'd say this thing's ready for a real push down to like 44, 45 bucks, which is a big move for this thing. Until then, I like it as a nice natural invalidation pivot point. And I do think in the short term, you probably have a move back up to $58 or so. I don't know if that matters for you, but if it does, yeah, you do have a higher low in the making right here. Just needs to close back above that $58 high, and at that point, you will actually initiate targets even higher. So while I do think you're going to test around $58, that does not mean it's going to close above $58. If it closed above $58, then I would extend those targets up into the low 60s, actually, 62, 63 at least. And at that point, your weekly time frame looks like it's put in a higher low, and that starts to look really fucking good. But one thing before the next, of course, and still got a long way to go there. All right. We shall end on that note. Oh, hype versus Bitcoin. Hype versus the old coins there. Let's see. I guess in the short term, it's probably beating Bitcoin. Yeah, makes sense. Rallying while Bitcoin is not. Yeah, short term versus Bitcoin. Yeah, I do think you extend back up towards that. Oh God, whatever this ungodly number is right here. Just basically this time. Somewhere back around there. Make a lot of sense. But yeah. All right. Now we shall end the stream. It's been long enough. It's been a fun time. It's been a good time. But we're right at that 2-hour mark right now. So my throat, as usual, is starting to get fucking pulverized. But we shall reconvene tomorrow with another regular video upload analysis, and then Friday for another live stream. And dear God, I pray that we have some new price action to look at before then. That would just make this so much more fun. But yeah, in the meantime, I'll continue to play my Kalshi shit coins. Other than that, I want to wish everyone the best. Take